So we continue with the list. Okay, in the list we can add, of course, it's just different from a stream. So we need a special function to concatenate it's not concatenate actually, it's to add new elements to the list. Okay, the function is append. You say append? Append or append? Append, no? Append de toda la vida. Eso digo yo. Goodreads append, and so, for example, the first line, this first line is just because I want a list and I want that to be, oh my God, vacía is empty. Thank you very much. Empty list. So first of all, one list, empty. Second, I'm going to add new elements to the list. Okay. In this case, it's two books. Twilight, that I think is Crepúsculo in Spanish, that is the famous, and the other is all the light we cannot see that I look for in Google. I say that it's a bestseller, so I suppose everybody knows. If not, read it. So yes, we make this, and I printed. I have two elements in my list. Okay, easy, perfect. And of course, now I can modify. Okay, if I say the first element, okay, on my list, now it's Brad and produce, is possible to change things that was not happen with the strings. Okay, with the strings it's not possible because it's immutable. Okay, but with the list is possible. Okay, so one thing we can do is now exercise 5 is add your favorite book. So let's go. Add your favorite book to the list. Goodreads. Very easy. And if you are very, very lazy, you can go to this cell, copy is Control-C, and go here and say Control-V, and instead of Twilight, write your favorite book. I don't know. Lors, like this? Something like that? More or less, no? So I print, and now I have another. Okay, perfect. And this is a way to build a list. For what is useful this list? For words, for example, or for something interesting, for labeling. If you are labeling something in your text and you want to extract information, you can put a list of special labels. Okay, and you can make a list for each kind of label, for example, this kind of things. Okay, perfect. What I say, if I try to modify a string as I made with the list, it's impossible because the string is immutable. In Python, there is some kind of variables that are immutable. You can change. Okay, perfect. Okay, more things that we can do with the list. Okay, we know to add elements. The other operation is remove, take out. So imagine, for example, okay, this reads, Goodreads is okay. Los Juegos del Hambre, this is a traduction of a famous book. It's called Hunger Games. All the light we can see. Dune, I think it's Dune everywhere, no? Dune. It's fantastic. I like the film. I have to say that I don't read the book. I haven't read the book, but the film, just twice. The first version and the new version. La Chorra del Viento is another book, it's a translation, and the Silent Web, that is the same. Google say this is a bestseller, so it should be. Okay, if I execute and remove los juegos del hambre and I print it, you can see that it's not in the list anymore, okay? If you want to check it, okay, this is a trick that Salva made here. No, you can comment with the symbol, you know, the symbol. You can comment, and if I execute, los juegos del hambre is inside of the list, okay? It's not, I'm not making nothing weird, okay? If you won't continue, you only take it out and execute and ready, okay? If I try to remove this one, white only under, the problem is that, okay, it's impossible, the element is not in the list, okay? So, yeah, this is a typical error that we are going to try to solve just in the next notebook with the bifurcation or with the if conditions, with conditions. We try to get information, okay, in advance and say, okay, it's not, make another thing, okay? It's not error. Okay, SSC6 say the 5 variables would read as empty list and add some of your favorite books. If you don't mind, it's a very easy thing. You can try. If you have any problem, you can ask me or Alvaro. That Alvaro is in here in the room. Yes, if you have a lot of problems with the code, you can ask him, and he help you. Okay. Like a string, we can concatenate. Okay. As well, we can concatenate the elements. So I say a kind of lie before with a pen, no, and then we are going to try to execute. We have some books, okay. Madrid, I don't know, because I usually we copy from one notebook to the other, and probably the person who made the first notebook say that this one was very bad reads, I don't know. So don't take into account that. Just change the name if you don't like bad. You can write whatever you want. So if I execute now, all reads contain good reads and bad reads. Okay, I can concatenate two lists. What I can concatenate is the list. I have to add elements to the list. Okay, and when I have one list and I have another list, I can concatenate to create a bigger list. Okay, perfect. Another thing that is very useful is to sort the list. Okay, I'm going to take all this out. Okay, better. Sort is well, we say functions or methods. Okay, these methods are from Python. So you can use string because this is a list. The list has these methods, okay? So you can use freely. In this case, if I sort the good reads and I print, okay, it's sorting in which way? A, D, L, yes, it's alphabetical order, okay? You can change in the order, but you have to put here a parameter. What happened is, because I say I am an old man, I don't remember very well. As you can imagine, all the parameters, all the functions, all the methods, all the libraries of Python. What I do is when I want to do something and I know that probably the function is prepared for that, what I made is Google it, okay? And I say, okay, sort, for example, we can try, my God, here it is. I can try, for example, sort Python, and I check for the methods, for example, whether it's a lot or Python. So there is a lot of useful help in the internet, so you can check it, and you see the functions. And the idea is to look for the, well, there is a lot of kind of, but I need I need to look for the parameters. So here it's not the parameters. Yeah, well, here I know reverse. Reverse is for decide if it's in alphabetic or opposite. No, not opposite, in the other direction. So, for example, the key, you can choose a key for order. So you can make a lot of things. Usually the functions has a lot of parameters. Then you have to check it just to improve your results. Okay, take this into account, because sometimes say, okay, I using sort, okay, but sort has parameters. Continue. You have to research to find out more information about that. Okay. Okay. Yes, read. And we are here. And the next point, yes, this is a function. It was here, reverse. Okay. Okay. I take advantage of this example to introduce a new concept. This is a function. Until now, I write code just in line. Okay. I execute. But I can define a set of sentences and put a name. Okay. This is a function. And this function has input parameters and output parameters. Okay, it's like a black box. Okay, why I use functions? Because sometimes I have to make this the same thing a lot of times. So a way to have a nice code is, okay, all these sentences now I am going to call my function, and I'm going to use in the code only calling the function. Okay, in this case, this is the function. The function is defined by the def. Def is a special word for Python. The name of the function, in this case, my function, my fun. And in parentheses is the parameters, input parameters. This means that this function expected one parameter, one entrance. Okay, it's okay. In this case, it's very easy. The return is to say what is the output of the function. Okay. In this case, I put the function len. Len of what? Of the input parameter e. A, B, C, D, E. Okay. So that means that this function is expecting a variable, probably a string, something that is possible to use the function len, because it's not, say, error, and take it information and calculate, compute the length, and give the output of the len. Okay? Okay? We're going to try to do that. So here I define this, and now it's a cars, okay? A variable car. This is a list, okay? This is a list. I write the elements of the list. I can print the car, so I show it for Mitsubishi, BMW, blah, blah, blah. And I say, okay, car sort, okay? That means sort the list. And I say reverse false, okay? That means just alphabetic, or in this case, could be, if it's letters, it's alphabetic order or not. But if it's, in this case, I use key function, I say that the function that I want to use to sort it is the function my fun. My fun's what made? Calculate the length of the enter. So what it's going to do is take it the first element of the list and say, okay, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 letters. Mitsubishi, 11 letters. BMW, 3. BBW 2, and order by the length. Okay, in the cases reverse is false or true, from the high major and the length, more the more to the less. Okay, you understand me. Okay, I execute and then see the result. In this case, 2 letters, 3 letters, 4 letters. Okay, I'm going to take here. I'm going to write true, true. Okay, and I execute and then change. Okay, so sort is possible to order, alphabetic order, or we can use a simple function just to decide what is the parameter or that I'm going to use to order the list. Sorry? The key on here? Yeah. This is a variable. It's a parameter, a variable. Yeah. What means this? Yeah, because you need all the functions need an input. You need an input. In this case, probably we can say here, but I think is maybe make what you expected is this. Instead of E is cars. Okay. I don't know if they make a error. I don't know. But this is a problem that in this case it's a tricky. I mean, it's a Python tricky. Really, I can make this. Okay. I'm going to execute this. I can say this. My phone, and I can say cars. Okay. Okay, I try. Okay, 4. Okay, because I send the variable car. Okay, car is the E. Okay, say my function, the input is cars, this variable, this E. So compute the length of E. It's like a chain of parameter. It's all the functions. Okay, when you are in the code, and you are in the principal sequence, you have some variables, okay, that are defined just for computing. When you use a function, what happens is that the computer makes a special space for computing the function, and it needs that the information that is in the main lane go to the function and come back. And okay, understand? Because it's like a special execution. So the way to do that is to define a parameter in the function and to say from the principal code, say, okay, the parameter that needs this function to work is this variable. This is what I'm making here. I say, okay, my function expected one parameter that is E. Another variable is a variable that only the life of this variable is only when it's executing the function. When the function finished, this variable disappears. Okay? So cars give information to the variable E, okay, and compute the length and come back with information. So actually, if I say here result, for example, now it has more sense probably. If I print result, is 4. Now the variable result has taken the length of E, and E is the variable car. Okay, this is a concatenation just for computing. Okay. What happens if I send this? What is expected? Now the variable, if I say that, what kind of variable is? What the card is a list, and each element of the list is a string. No? So now the variable E is not a list, it's a string. Okay, so if I say give card 0, if I write is 4. 4 is okay, I'm going to put 1. That is Mitsubishi. So if I execute this, I hope work. No, it's not working. No, it's not possible. Or it's possible. Oh my God. Now it's 10. What? I'm going to print here cards. I don't know. No, cards is yes, because I sorted. Yes, it's okay. Yeah. It's okay, no? Yes, 10 because I sorted cards and now cards is this. So the first position of cards is Mitsubishi and the length of Mitsubishi is 10. Okay? Understand? No? If you want, I can try to explain again later, because the use of functions is, when you are writing code, always you have functions. So the difference is that this function, I define this function, and the rest of function are defined by the programming, for the language programming. So you always are using functions. Okay. So yes, I try to teach you later. Okay. Another thing that we can do, is a nested list. I mean that you can have a list of the list, for example. This is the way to do that. And it's the same. If I send this information, that means the first position of the list, nested list, that is 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I say the 0 position of the second list is 5. So, okay, it's the way to go into the list. And then when I have one list, I go into the second list. Okay, perfect. We say, okay, we can prove in practice improving our book collection. So I can say Goodreads. Now I say that the variable Goodreads is a list, an empty list. Okay. Now I can try, I can try to append now a list of lists. In this case, not only the title of the book, I add a score of the book. For example, I say that Pride and Prejudice for me is an 8 points from 10, and All the Lies We Cannot See is 9. So now I have a list of a list, but not only of strings. I share the list with integers, in this case, numbers. So if I print, that is the point. If I printed the list, print Goodreads. If I print it, what is expected is a list of lists. Okay, this is the first element. It's a list with 2 elements. One is a string, another is a number. Another one, okay, and a lot of, again, the same. Why? Because I append again. Remember, this is sequential. I make some, in some moment, I click twice, something like that, and it's appending. So be careful, because the point is that you have the control of your sequence of cells. So if you don't know very well what are you doing, this thing happens. Okay, clear? Yes. Okay. Exercise 7. They say, okay, we started again. I'm going to, this now is empty, and I hope that if I print, yes, only 2. Okay, we are right. 2 elements. It's okay. I just only execute this cell that is empty, and now append 2 elements, 2 lists, one with a string and one with a number. Okay, and this is the result. Perfect. So now we say add to the Goodreads, so the variable list, some of your own books and give an score. It's the same. Okay. Do you need I make it? It's very easy. I take, for example, this code. Okay. I copy here and I change the value. For example, in Spanish, one book in Spanish. There is Spanish here. So, La colmena, thank you very much. La colmena, and you say 8, 9, 10. We'll say 10 because Spanish. So I appended. I can see nothing because the order is only add. So if I want to see if it's correct, I print it again. Goodreads. This is, look, when you write, the Google try to help you. Actually, it doesn't help you. But it's okay. And say pride and and la colmena. Why twice? I don't know. I don't know because I'm sure that I only click once. So maybe I make something wrong. I don't know. Okay, but this is the point. Okay. And here it is. Okay. One thing is very important. If you are working with the list, it's very nice working with the list, okay, but you need to save the data. If you need to save the data, because remember, if I close the notebook, everything is out, okay? You lose all your work. And when I say you lose, it's you lose. Of course, one advantage, you can reproduce because you only have to click again, and everything is making. And there is a tricky for making this. What is? Oh my God, what is here? This is in Spanish, but I think I can put in English. Editor. Where is the? Okay, there is a way I make the other day to change to English. Where is? I don't know. You can change to English. I changed to English because you can't. You say me that it's in Spanish. Okay, this is a execution mode, something like that. You can say execute all. So if you say execute all the notebook is execute once, the first cell, the second, and it's a fast way to repeat all the computations. So if we, since 5 plan, sin. Okay, we are here, La Colmena. Okay, saving the list. You need to, for saving the list, one way is just import this library, quickly, and just say open file. You will write the name of the file, and that's only you use dump, okay? And you give as parameter, input parameter, the list and the file. This is a case of function. This is a case of function, no? Dump is a function with 2 parameters, sample list and open file. If you look for the code of this function that is in the Python code, probably the name of the variables of the function will be, I don't know, A and B, for example. Okay, it's the same case. So if you make this, with this, you write a list, okay, and with this one you can load the list, okay. So in this case, I execute, everything is okay, and where is my file? Because I said to you that this is a virtual machine or a computer that you want that is in Google premises, in the cloud. So where is my data? Okay, click here, go to contents, and voila, it's here. Google Reads.pql. So if you go to these 3 points, it's in Spanish, but here they download. So if you click, you download your local computer. Okay? Yes, easy. Another thing very interesting. If I click twice here in the name of the file, because I made various, it's here. Look, appear here. And what's happened is this. Of course, you don't understand anything because it's a binary code. That means that all information has been codified in binary code. You can read it. I mean, it's not human readable, okay? You can read with the program. You can read with load. If I load it, again, I take it information, okay? Another way to do that is you can import in the JSON format, JSON format, you know, JSON format. It's more human readable format, okay? So this is the code. I take out this, and now I say, okay, open a new file, text file, because it's readable for me, and dump, okay, in this file, and that's all. So I can execute again this, okay, and if I go to contents, it's supposed to have to do it here, so maybe I have to close and open. Why? Because this is a web browser, and the web browser needs sometimes we refresh it, okay? Remember, this is one way to think. The other way to think is that has the information has to travel to the Google Cloud, then has to select our computer virtual machine, and takes some time. But if you refresh, usually it's enough, okay? So if I click here in Goodreads 2, and I go to the other, oh my God, I'm going to try make this smaller. Okay, I have to click with more energy. Yes, here it is. Look, now, oh my God, what is? I'm going to, well, this is for closing. And here, blah, blah. Oh my God. Yes, here it is. Okay. This is readable. Okay. It's text. You can open with any editor you have. It's not a problem. Okay. So there are two ways to save your information after you have been working hard and obtain a very valuable knowledge. Okay. Remember, if you switch off the notebook, buy all the information. Good news, you can execute again and recover all the information, okay? Perfect. Continue. Okay, we can continue. Plan, SS7, saving. Okay, summary, easy. We are working with list. We have information about what is a mutable and immutable data. Split, append, nested list, remove, and sort. Clear? Perfect. The next structure. This is a very, 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 very important structure in the computational literary studies. That is the dictionary. Everybody knows what is a dictionary? Yes, no? You look for a key? No? In this case, a word, usually. And you have the meaning of the word in the... Yes, but it's the same. It's the same. We have a key and we have a value. The good thing is that the key could be, okay, words, and the value can be words or numbers or a lot of things. Okay? And of course, you can mix next dictionaries of dictionaries, dictionary of lists with dictionaries. Yeah, you can make everything complex if you want. My recommendation is that the simple things are better than the complex ones, but make what you want. Okay? Feel free to make things weird. Okay? Okay, this is the dictionary. So, what is the structure of a dictionary? Here it is. This is a dictionary that I started to work to write. In this case, I use the brackets, curly brackets, these ones? Curly. This is the sounds that I can say in Spanish. Curly brackets. instead of the brackets, curly brackets, and then look, this is the key, in this case book, and period, colon, and a string that is in this case defining what is a book. Okay, that is the value, key and value, and in the middle, colon. Okay, and to change for the next, a comma at the end. Okay, and you close your curly brackets. Perfect. So if I execute this, okay, you can't see anything. It's a pity. So you can try what? Print it. Yes, you can try to print it. I'm not sure if we can print the dictionaries as like this, but we can try. Another thing is important. Look, the indentation of the code is very important in Python. In this case, because we are working just in sequential, we have no bifurcation, anything, but always just in the same line in the indentation. Okay, we'll see. In this case, my did is okay. And if I print, look, here it is. Okay, all the dictionary. If I want to access only one, in this case, description is the information I have in SWORD. SWORD is here. So I use the key. Okay, I say, give me the information of SWORD. Give me the value of the key SWORD. And I print it. I put in here, I'm storing the information in a variable, in a string. And I say, print the information of the key value SWORD is here. Blade weapon, long, strike. Okay, perfect. So what more? Okay, we continue. Same, different. Okay. Yes, we can make the same. Remember, in some of the above cells, we use the list to storage the name of a book and the score. We can make the same in a dictionary. Okay, it's the same. We use the key, the title, and the score. One way to do that is this. Okay, I say Goodreads. Look, curly brackets. Curly brackets means if I put brackets, this variable is a list. If I put curly brackets, this variable is an empty dictionary. Brackets, curly brackets. Remember? And now the way to put the information in the dictionary is using a key, and in this case, using a value, using an integer. So I execute this, okay, and I print now the dictionary again, say good reads, and I execute. Okay, this is the dictionary. It doesn't look like the list. The list was one element, comma, the other element, between brackets. Here is between curly brackets, one element, colon, value, comma, key, colon, value, and so on. Okay? Nice. SSI means you can try to make your own dictionary, add new values. Very easy. Only have to take this, copy here, and put a name, a different key, and a different value. Okay? For example, La Colmena, remember, 10. Very easy. Okay? Continue. I'm going to go just a little more speed. I try because it is the most interesting thing is the next. So I try. Okay, key values, key and values. What happened with the dictionaries? Very easy. There are key and there are values. So I can access to the keys and I can access to the values. Okay? For that, I use this function, key, in this case, And look, this is very interesting. I print keys. Okay. The keys are bright and all the light we cannot see. Okay. And in this case, this is the type of the data, did case. Okay. What happens if I want to access to one of the elements of this? What happens? If I have a special way to access to this class, or this case, it's possible to access. Actually, I don't know if it exists or not, but what I can do is, okay, this look like a list. No, this is a list. No, this is a list. If I only focus on the data, it's a list. It's a brackets, string, comma, another string, brackets. It's a list. Yes or no? So, it's easy. It's a list. I know to access to the list. What I have to do? The problem is that it's a dk. It's a different type of data. What I have to do is say, okay, no. I prefer that this data would be a list. So I make this. I say list of good red keys. This is the entrance, the input to the function list. In this case, I send then all of this, and the list function transform this class to a list. So once it's a list, I can access each element of the list. So I can make one. So if I uncomment this and I execute, yes, I can access to the first element of the list. Another way to do that, for example, I can make this, say, okay, keys, okay, and now I can say keys, my God, keys, one, and of course I want to print it. Print keys one, and if I not really, but at this, yes, what I made. Okay, I say this is the keys. Okay, this is the keys, but it's in a special format, kind of. I transfer this format to a list, is what I made here. And I save all the information in a new variable that I know is a list, that is keys. Okay. And now this is a list, so I can use all the information that I explained about list. For example, access to the, in this case, the second element. The second, no. Yes, the second is one. Okay. Perfect. So as you can see, Python makes things easy if you know to do that. You know, sometimes it's difficult. The same is with values. Values is the values, the same situation. It's a special class. You can change to a list, and then you can access to the all information element by element. Okay, easy. You have plugins. You have plugins in the. Excuse me. You have plugins in the. No, you have plugins in the table. Yes, on the left, on the side. Yeah, this is a perfect room, conference room for teaching. Yeah. Okay. More things. You can save the dictionaries. The same as list is the same process. Okay. In this case, in the case you can use the structure of pickle, or you can extrude the JSON as well. You can just only tell, and it's the same. And if I look for this, I can change. I can say 3, for example. It's in the content how do you say? Folder. Thank you very much. In the folder. Okay. So it's the same, and of course I can read it. So you have a code for read and write dictionaries. Okay. Perfect. So this is what was learned until now. Dictionaries, index, items, keys, and values. Okay. This structure is very useful for a lot of things. Okay. Yes. Okay. Very fast. Ahora yes, very fast. Until now, always we have been working sequentially. Okay. Do that, because we know, or we knew that always we have an answer. So it's okay. We can make things and the computer say, okay, 5, 10, hello, perfect. What happens if I try to do something and the computer say, no? It's an error. I say, okay, if in this case, make another thing, okay? This kind of things. So we can start it with the conditions. The most simple conditions are the logic conditions, minus is lower, higher, it's menos, lower, and the other, no, look. This is lower, and this is, okay, muy. In Spanish, it's very easy, it's mayor and menor, okay, mayor and menor. So you can put a condition, this is equal, okay, equal is 2 equals. If you use only one, you are assigning value to the variable. You are not comparing variables, okay? Okay, and the result of a condition of this kind, logic condition, is true or false, okay? It's true or it's false. Three equal 4. Yes. Because why? Because this is another condition. It's different condition. In the first line, okay, I'm going to execute and I explain you. It's an example of how to use how the conditions works. Okay. In this case, I say 2 lower, less than 5 equal true. Why? Because this is the sentence is executing this. So it says true. Yes, because 2 is less than 5. Okay. In the second case, 3 is rather, you say rather, greater than 7, and it's false. Okay. And in this case, is equal and is false as well. Okay. In this case, I'm comparing 2 strings and say it's false. Escuela, okay, I have to translate. This is maybe, yes, school, yes, it's very easy. School. Spanish and English are very, very similar. Tax, this is school and task. So this say it's equal, it say no, it's false. And this symbol is not equal. Okay, of course, Python and Perl are two programming language are different, so it's true. So when you have a condition, a logical condition, the result always is true or false. Okay, and you can build a more complex, of course, more complex logical sentences. Because it's here. I write it here, my cheat sheet. Okay, and you can combine with the logical operators and or not. Okay, and you can make a very, 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 very complex conditions. Okay, and the other thing that we can do with condition is the use of if, else, and this is if that is a bifurcation. What happened if we want that in case of a condition is true, we can make a different thing that if the condition is false. It's called bifurcation in the code. So we say to the compute, okay, compute this logical function, and if it's true, make something, and if not, make another, or vice versa, as you prefer. So for this, we use if-else, okay? So I don't know what is an error here. It's what is error? What is error? No. No. What happened? What is Goodreads? Goodreads, remember, we are in the same notebook. So in some place, we say that the Goodreads is a dictionary. And what happened? That we have no entrance in the key value for it ends with emotional. We haven't. So this is a problem. Okay? It's not inside. Okay? We can make something to try that the computer say, okay, you are wrong. Remember, this is not inside of your dictionary. Okay? And write something like, be careful, man, woman, whatever. Okay. So one way to do that is use the if. So, for example, I say book. In this case, the title is It Ends With Us, the emotional. That is a famous book as well. I look in Google and I know it. And I think my daughter is reading books of this. This is she's a writer, I think. I don't remember the name. Sorry. And I say, okay, if book is in, actually it's in it's an operator that means that take the value of book and check if the value of book is inside of the structure of Goodreads. In this case, is a dictionary, I hope. So if it's true, this condition, this is a logical operator, and if in is true, if not in is false. Okay? If it's true, print the book is out. No, it's in, no? The book is in. This has to be a mistake, I suppose. So we try. And what happened? Nothing. Why? Because the book is not in. It's not in the Goodreads. So I only say to the computer, okay, if it's in, say that it's in. But what happened is it's not in. I have to write something like else. For example, colon, and a leaf, colon, and an else, and print, print book, we say out, no? Out, maybe it's working. Look, indentation. Now, yes, it's important, okay? If else, in the same line, print in the same line. If not, Python say indentation problem, okay? So if I execute it, it ends as emotional is out because it's out of my dictionary. So it's a way to control the flow of the code. Okay, perfect. Look, booking Goodreads is false. If I execute only, it's true, it's false. It's true, it's false. That means that is false. Okay, be careful. Okay, if I say all the line in good is true. If you check it, we add this book to the dictionary. Okay, to the dictionary. Okay, true. Look, which is correct. Okay, so for example, this structure say, okay, all the line we can see in Goodreads, I can say, okay, found encontrado, or the book, in this case, nothing, because book again is the book that is not in the dictionary. So it's the same thing, just changing, okay? And this is, okay, this is the result that I wrote first of all, it's the same cell, okay? Of course, we can nest it, else F structure. It's possible to make things complicated. So, for example, if we follow this, A in bananas is true because there is an A. A is in banana. Okay, third is in banana. No, false. Perfect. So the structure if else is this structure. If condition 1, block 1. If not, if condition 2, block 2, else block 3. It's a way to control the flow of the code. Okay. So, for example, if I wrote this program, we say, okay, bananas. If A in word, look, word is a string in this case. I check if the bubble A is in word. If A is in the word, print has a letter A. Perfect. So, for example, banana, say yes, has a letter. I'm going to try another that is not A's. Bono. Bononos. I don't know what is this. I hope nothing offensive. Dice, vaya palabra. Oh, Spanish. Oh, that means strange, weird, where? Yes, it's correct. Okay. That means that has no A, has no Z, so it's weird. Perfect. And if I want to check if it's correct, one word in English with Z, zapato. No, it's Spanish. What? Ah, zipper. Zipper is like this. Well, two piece one is the same, no? Zipper has the letter S. Okay. Why S? Because in my code, I wrote S. A mistake. Now, yes. Perfect. Okay. This is another kind of structure. Okay. Read the tips because are very interesting just for making things. Okay. This is a SSS9. You can try to make it. It's very easy. If you have problems with the SSS9, tell me, please. Okay, logical function and or not. As I said to you, you can combine the conditions to make more complex bifurcations. In this case, for example, A in word and B in word. So I'm looking for words with an A and a B. Always I say A, sorry, is A. If I say A, is A. Okay. So, for example, banana, yes, has the two letters. Okay. Look, it's another way to make the bifurcation. Okay. We could make it with if else, but it's very complex way to do a simple thing that just only combine two conditions with an operator. Sometimes when you have the condition is simple enough to use the logical operators, it's better to use the logical operators. Okay. Sometimes it's better than structures that is very complex. Okay. And in this case, for example, you say no. Well, you doesn't write anything because banana has no asset. Okay. Do you want to see, or you want to send a message? What do you have to do? Else. You say else. And now a print. Letter. No. Letter A or C. Yeah. It's or and. It's logical. You have to think about it. In this case, you say no letter. Think. Is an or, well, okay, it's for philosophical, but think about it, because the operator and always is true if the two conditions are true. Okay, but it's false if one of the conditions is false. So you don't know if the word has A or hasn't A or hasn't C or hasn't both. You don't know. You have to check it again. Okay, be careful with the operators because I think that it's in all the languages. When we say and, we think different from the logical operators. Okay, so be careful with that. Okay, the OR operator, similar. Okay, in this case, the OR operator is true if one of the conditions is true. So it's another problem, but it's okay. You can make it. Okay, the letter A, be careful with the language and the logical operators are not compatible. So be careful with that, okay? Letter A and C in banana, no, actually it's only the A. So it's more correct to say or, okay? Be careful with that. And the same here. Well, this is for making your code. This is an example, okay? You can change here, whatever, and try to do. Not is the same, is the operator. Just to say not in this case, word is the list, is the letters. If it was a dictionary, in the dictionary, if it's a list, in the list, so on. Okay, so this is the things that we have tried to learn. If structures is only a structure for bifurcations and with logical operators and this kind of things. Okay, and the next is the loops, is the second more important structure for control the flow in a program. Bifurcations allow us to go to the right or to the left. For a loop, allow us to repeat sometimes some actions. Okay, for example, you want to write the first 100 numbers. You can print 100 times, print 1, print 2, print 3, print 4, blah, 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 blah. Or you can use a loop and say, okay, for 1 to 100, print and print all. Okay, so it's the second most important structure in programming in general. Bifurcation and loops, the two more important structures in programming. Okay, so yeah, this is the loop, and in this case, Python needs something that is called iterable. That means that I can count 1, 2, 3. Why? Because it's a loop, and I need to count. I need to count. So I need an iterable. So, for example, if I say for is the keyword for loop. So I say for letter. Letter is a variable. Which variable? The variable you want. And in this moment, letter has nothing. Okay? And I say for letter in banana, banana is an iterable. I can count the letters. So Python say, okay, I can count. I know that first one is the B and the last one is the A. So I say that the second is the A, the third is the M, and so on. Python knows. It's like ChatGPT. Remember, be careful. Okay? Python knows a lot of things. So in this case, I say, okay, move in the string and print each element of the string. It's this letter is a variable that first of all take the B, after A, and so on, and print its iteration, print 1. So it's making print the first, increase the counter to the second, print the second, and so on. Okay? This is what it's making. And yes, banana. Perfect. Easy, no? Easy? Yeah, very easy. Yes, yes. We can make the same, for example, with this list. Remember, this is a list. Brackets. Brackets. It's a list of a string, remember? And now I have a for. For again, it's a loop. Whatever is whatever. Perfect. In Spanish, it's more funny. You can say lo que sea. That's more funny. Sorry. I know that. I don't know. You have to improve your sense of humor. That's just an advice from the Spanish local committee. So try to do that. If you smile, you will live better and you'll be happy. Okay, so whatever is whatever, color is the list. So I'm going to go through all the list from the first element to the last element, and I'm going to print this is the color plus concatenation, whatever, okay? So I print it and voila, yellow, red, green, purple, perfect, okay? More things, for example, the dictionary, pride, all, okay? Or maybe it's a list, I don't know, because after 20, 30 thirds, actually, I don't know if it's a list, if it's a dictionary, okay? Be careful. You want to check it, print, type, and the name of the variable, and you know what is the type, okay? So yes, I can print, for example, in this case, it's supposed it's a dictionary because items is for taking each element of a dictionary. I mean, the key and the value, okay? This function is for that. Look, pride and the element. And remember, I can make a list with this. Now I can say, okay, transform to the list. Remember, always with the elements of the dictionary, always I can transform to a list, okay? So for example, here, I'm going to say, oh my God, libro is not defined, okay? It's not a problem. This is because when I was translating, I have book, and now it's okay. Look, for book, comma, score in Goodreads.items, print book, plus has a score, plus stream score. A lot of things to explain here. First of all, I have two variables here, no one. Why? Because Goodreads.items give me two kinds of information. Okay, one is the book and one is the score. Why? Why do you think that Goodreads.items give me two kinds of information? Because it's a dictionary and it's the method or the function to take one element of the dictionary. And one element of the dictionary has two parts, key and value. Has sense, no? It's easy. So, book is the title. In this case, the key and score is the score. Okay. And now I print book because it's a string. No problem. I'm printing a string. Has a score. And here I'm making a concatenation. So I can try say score. But if I'm not sure if it's I make a mistake, I can change the type of the variable and say, okay, score is a number, but I want you transform to a string. And I write str for saying that now is a string. So I'm sure that I'm going to write a string. Okay, if we make this, it's okay. If I take out this, I don't know. Maybe it's okay. I don't know. Oh no, because I say can only concatenate a string, not integers to string, because I'm using the concatenation. What happens is I make this. Perfect. You understand what happened? No? In first time, I concatenate strings. So it's expected all the elements will be strings. But in the second, I put a comma. So that means that I concatenate these two strings and now print the value of this variable. For us, that we are seeing the screen is the same. Okay? It's absolutely the same. But internally, it's different. Okay? That's all. Okay, so yeah, it's the same. It's the same. Book. Okay. If I want only take another way to do that. If I want to take the score, I can make this. Is another way to do the same. Look, it's different. I say, okay, book in Goodreads as a dictionary. Okay, they take all the information. Each element of the dictionary has a key and value. It's okay. I write the book. In this case, is the title has a score, and Goodreads book is the way to say the key to the dictionary. So if I use the key in the dictionary, I will obtain the value. Okay. I can't, because the way to access a dictionary is using the key. And book is the key, is the title. If I put score here, I can access to information. Yeah, because it's a dictionary. The dictionary, remember, when we wrote the dictionary, what is the dictionary? Look for a dictionary. Where is the dictionary? I need okay. Think. If everything is okay, I have a variable, no, that is called, I'm going to use here SSF. Okay, here. Things I can do. Where is my, I want to add a new cell. I can look. Here. Code, okay. So a new cell. And I say, okay, Goodreads. I remember that Goodreads probably is a dictionary. So it's Goodreads. If I write this, what happened? Okay, look, this is the content of the dictionary. So this is the key and this is the value. Okay, the key and the value. The only way you have two ways to access to the value. One is using the function value, and the other is using the key. So if I wrote Goodreads brackets, and I wrote here Brian Prejuice, what I obtained is 8. Okay, this is the way, like in Mandalorian, this is the way. So sorry, Star Wars, Mandalorian, Star Trek as well. I'm so sorry. Okay, this is the exercise 10. The 10 is, okay, we use the function length to obtain the length of the banana. Perfect, we say, okay, it's a 6. And now we are trying to write a program that displays the length of each of the words in the color list. Easy, no? I am going to help you. Colors is the list. Okay, perfect. No problem. Brackets, elements, or a loop, whatever. Remember, it's a variable that in the first instance is empty. Take information for, in this case, for color. Okay. So whatever in colors, length, I compute the length of the first element and print the variable and its length. Again, I use a string because I'm concatenating strings. So if I execute this code, color yellow has a length of 6, red 3, green 5, and so on. Okay, perfect? Nice. And here you can make the same. Now you can try to, yeah, with a pen. So you can add element to the list using a pen and try to make a loop just to print it. Okay, it's very easy. You can do that. Okay, what was learned? Loop. Perfect. 4 expressions. Okay. iterable objects. It's important. In the for, in the loop, only iterable objects. Object that Python consider that has a way to count. Okay. And assign values to the variable. Okay, this is okay. Perfect. At this point, okay, I remember. Yeah. I know, I understand now. This is in Spanish. Yeah. Sorry, I have to translate. Yeah, I was very tired when I. I didn't realize it was in Spanish. Sorry. Okay, there are more Jupyters for Python, and it's in GitHub. Okay, in the GitHub there is more code. It's 0 Jupyter, 01 Jupyter, 01, 2, 3 Jupyter. There is a lot of code explain variables, loops, bifurcation, whatever is in the GitHub. If you download, it's in your local machine, so you can use. It's for free. It's Common Creative, Common Creative. What you prefer, you can share, you can modify, you can sell if you want. If someone gives you money, it's perfect. And they are making, it's okay, perfect, because I'm finishing in this moment. Okay, the next functions, was an example, and I'm going to translate for you, okay, because it's true, it's Spanish, sorry. Was a last example for how to write a function for count words, okay? I'm going to translate to English. The way to do, okay, this is an exercise for you as well. I'm going to translate, okay? When I translate it, I'm going to upload to the GitHub, okay? And then the GitHub change. I change this file will be the new file, and the other file disappear. So what you have to do is again download, okay, and then go upload to the collab. This is an exercise. Of course, you can, if you new to use GitHub, you only have to use the GitHub Desktop. It's a program, you can connect it and you can use just for, it's a way to maintain the code. Yes, maybe it's too much for one day. Okay, but the structure of this exercise is for counting words. Okay, I'm going to execute in 2 minutes, just to see what is happening. Okay, or is not here. No, because I think. Okay. I think. Okay, I'm trying to remember. I think that I'm sorry. I think that this, I can. You can erase these cells because in the next notebook I think I put in English because this is not my code. I see it's not my code. Probably it's another code. So maybe you can erase. You want to erase? I show you. It's very easy. You come here, or you can select even the cells. No, okay, with the shift, you push shift, you go to the end of the Jupyter, for example, here. Okay, and now, if I'm not wrong, okay, super, no, or not? Oh my God, where is the? I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, here. No. Yes, here it is. Say bye, and that's all. Now it's perfect. Now it's perfect. So another advantage of using Collab is that if you make everything that we made today, now it's in your drive. This Jupyter is in your drive. Okay. So it's easy. So yes, please erase all of these cells because I think it's in the next notebook. Okay. Because this was very complex for today. and I make a special function with an histogram, well, not kind of histogram, was a representation of the data, but it's in the next one. Okay.